All right, here he is, the premium champion nose monster. It is Terracon BLOT from Power of the Primes Wave 3. I got some boxes under here getting in my shins. And yeah, here he is in his little goblin-y whatever monster mode. He's got his cool... I actually really like the way they did his claws. He's my favorite of the 3 Terracons, hence why we're doing him first. Now, I do have all 3 of the Wave 3 Terracons. I'm going to be, while it may be a day or two between each of these video releases, I'm shooting them all right here tonight. So how we're going to do this, because I know everybody wants the comparisons, here with BLOT, since he's in monster mode and I have them all in monster mode, in a second we're going to do a quick, here's all the Terracons together in monster mode. I don't know if I'm going to go to Center Twin or Cutthroat next. I'll make that decision when I finish shooting this video. At the end of that video, once we reach the robot mode, I'll do a robot mode comparison of all 5 of them, and then whichever one I do last, we'll go ahead and do the full Abominus. So deal, deal, great. So here's BLOT. Here he is as a monster mode, and again, as promised, as a quick comparison, here he is with Center Twin, Cutthroat, Ripper Snapper, here, kind of get them all in, and Hunger, hiding in the back with his dragon heads. I'll lift his dragon heads up so you can see. But there is, there's all of them together here as Monster Cons. Let's see if I can get them all. I want to get them all in a decent shot here so you can see them all together as God and Hasbro intended. So there are all the Terracons together in monster modes. And like I said, as promised, we will see them all together in robot mode and in combined mode. Don't worry, I got you covered. As I mentioned, though, BLOT, I think, is... Ripper Snapper is really good, too. These 2 guys would definitely be my favorites of the set. But BLOT, I think, just overall, maybe it's because he's not clearly remolded of something, unless I'm completely missing something. Although Ripper Snapper is pretty original, too. Center Twin and Cutthroat are reuses of Snarl and Swoop, the Dinobots. Heavily remolds, but remolds nonetheless. But anyway, so here he is. He's BLOT. I like his back pad. He's just kind of a squat, square dude. I like his legs. His ankles have a hinge, rotate forward, so you can move those around and can swivel forward and back here. His arms are actually on ball joints, and there's even a hinge here, and I'm not 100% sure officially what the hinge does. It's not real. The instructions are not great, but you can bring them out a little bit. If you don't want them sitting up in here, you can kind of pull that out and hinge them up. There's a ball joint and a couple of hinges in there, so you can bring his arms out a little bit here in monster mode. He doesn't have a movable jaw. Oh, he does! He's actually got a... Oh, that's actually not his jaw. That's his combiner port. But you can kind of give him a mouth there. This is technically, I think, from a pure standpoint, this molded piece right here is his jaw, which does not open. But that little port flap works really well as like a little, it kind of changes the dynamic of his face a little bit. But if you want to give him a jaw there with an opening mouth, you can do that. It looks more like a fish there. His gun is just on this. This is a weird little post here. It doesn't really serve any function, but you can plug his gun into it here on his back. But like I said, he's fun. He's square. He's compact. A fun little dude. Like I said, I like his claws. The way they transform, you can kind of make him pinch, although it does reveal his fist here and his forearm. But a fun little guy. To transform, I'm going to go ahead and pop the gun off because you can leave it on there in robot mode, but there's a side peg. Actually, you can plug it in this way as well. Make it a little bit more secure, however you want to do it. We'll pop that off. Unsnap his legs from back here. These legs fold up. And like I mentioned, there's a hinge here at the ankle. You can fold those all the way up onto his lower leg. Down here like this, and they tab in. There's a little tab here on the side of the leg. You don't want to do that yet, though, because you need to open them up. Actually, for robot mode, you don't. I don't know what I'm saying. That's the other thing I like, is that his robot mode, you don't collapse it. Even though his legs can collapse, and you want to do that for his leg mode, you don't have to. His robot mode legs just fold up. Wow, he was really snapped together there. You hear that loud old click. I didn't think he was that tight. Go ahead and lock these in. Pick up his gun. stand him up. Come on, dude. Work with me here. It's because this knee isn't not locked in. Just like all the other ones, you kind of want to make sure his knee comes up and then straight so it locks into the back piece when you fold these together. Same with this side. Neither one side was locked in. That's why he was so floppy. And then it holds together and stands pretty securely. Bring his arms up. This whole assembly flips up and comes down on this dual hinge onto his back. And there's a couple little pegs up here that kind of go into some peg holes up inside. Yeah, you can see it up here. So just kind of fold the backpack down. Again, this piece can kind of fold up in here or fold down. It's just kind of there. You don't have to turn his head around, but I did. Here's the flap. This port cover, that's where you can plug in his combiner mode hand, his armor, his prime armor, when he uses the power of the primes. And again, you can also make use of those extra hinges there on his shoulders if you wish. But this flap comes up, much like Dreadwind. He has that same kind of port on his combiner port here. That's what I was using as his jaw in monster mode. So we'll stand him up. I actually left his hand behind me. So we'll just reach back here and grab it. He's got the standard hand with a purple cover. And again, you can just pop that off just like all the other ones and put a Prime Master in there. The card we got with him is Alchemist Prime. And Alchemist BLOT creates a poison that causes enemies to leak energon. So that sounds interesting. Now here you can see his hands, if you want to leave them in his giant... I feel like that's something, I feel like I'm missing something here on this knee. I don't know why his legs don't seem to want to stand straight here for me. It just seems slightly off. Anyway, you can leave his hands in the... oh, this one's still not locked in all the way. That's what it is. Come on, go in. There we go. Now he stands straight. There we go. Look at that. How easy was that? You can leave his hands in the Monster Claw mode if you want to give him big kind of claw gauntlets here in robot mode. But a Transformer otherwise, you just flip his hand around. And I love how that hand makes a very different third claw, opposable claw here in monster mode. And when you flip his hand around, it just becomes a third kind of Wolverine-esque claw on the back of his arm. That's a really neat detail there, transforming him. You can see why I like this guy. Then he can hold his rifle in his hand. And like I said, if you want to attach the papoose power to his chest, you can do so by flipping down that port. He does have arm and leg modes. We'll show those off when we get to the full Terracon, or the full Abominus. You will see him again in robot mode in the next video. Poseability-wise, he's got a ball joint at the neck, a ball joint at the shoulder, and that extra hinge there in case you want to use it. Ball joint at the elbow. No wrist swivel, although, like I said, you have the option of how you do the hands. He does have a waist swivel, I think. Yes, he does. I'm trying to twist his gun port back there, but he has a waist swivel. Ball joint hips, thigh swivel, hinge knees. Double hinge knees if you unhook them like I kept doing. And a nice head sculpt. So there he is, Angry BLOT, the Terracon.